your right to write. I'm talking about writing reviews on sites like Yelp and giving consumers the right to post negative comments without fear of legal repercussions. Some businesses have made customers sign non-disparagement clauses and have sued people who wrote something that was critical. Massachusetts Congressman Joe Kennedy co-sponsored legislation that would change that dynamic. It passed the House last week.
If all you're getting is a good review and not getting a bad review, the entire objective of those websites goes out the window. And so the legislation that was passed tries to protect consumers so that they have a voice.
This may sound better for the consumers, but is it fair for businesses? Joining me are Dan Andelman, who's with the Restaurant and Business Alliance, as well as the Phantom Gourmet. Longtime, Dan. It's good to see you. And BU marketing professor Georgios Yorgos, correct?
Yorgos, yes.
My apologies. Zervos, who studied how businesses are affected by online reviews. Yorgos, let me start with you for a second. Before we even get into whether or not the right should be protected, does it matter? Are people's decision making, is it affected by what they read on places like Yelp?
In one word, yes, absolutely. There are numerous academic studies that have shown a very strong impact of crowdsourced reviews, whether it be TripAdvisor, Yelp, or Expedia.
Negative more powerful than positive?
I wouldn't say that. I would say simply that better rated businesses attract more consumers, and if a business can improve its rating, it will see an increase in demand.
Right before the show, I read a piece you wrote in the Boston Herald. You hate them. You described Yelp as a billion-dollar corporate bully. What's the case, Dan?
Well, first of all, it's Dave, Jim.
Dave, my apologies.
Right after this show, I'm going to yelp that you're the worst talk show host
I've only known
you
20 years. My apologies. Go ahead. What?
They are a billion-dollar bully. Now,
How so?
Joe Kennedy should think about this. Let's say that his brother puts his life savings into opening a restaurant, and then his brother's ex-wife tells 20 friends, get on there and say, this is the worst restaurant ever. I got sick. I'm a minority. They put me in the back with all the other minorities. Things that aren't true. Now, I'm not saying they shouldn't voice their opinion. Things that aren't true. And it's been estimated, and I find this to be true, 25 to 50% of the content on there is blatantly false. The person was never even there. It's just not true.
You know, this law would not protect that line. That would not protect defamatory statements, factually inaccurate opinions. It would protect, but if you defame somebody, either orally or on a Yelp site, then you're not protected.
Look, I have zero problem with that. The problem is that when these suits are brought, Yelp says, oh, no. We're not responsible for the content. We're going to sell advertising adjacent to it, but we're not responsible.
Right, they're the third party.
Because I've had it happen to me at Mendon Twin Drive-In, at Phantom Gourmet events. There is stuff that is just not true, and they say, hey, we're not going to do anything about it.
You know there's a Yelp page trashing you after you trashed Yelp? I don't know if you saw that.
They'll be up there on my page tomorrow ripping me. By the way, they're doing it right now. That savage animal in New York City that set off those bombs, his family owns a chicken restaurant. All the Yelpers are out there right now saying it's the worst restaurant ever. Now, I got no problem if they execute that kid tomorrow. However, it doesn't affect the quality of his chicken, and it proves that it's not fair. A chef recently came out for Trump, then they'll get on there and say his restaurant's awful.
Just because I got your name wrong doesn't mean you can talk forever here. Is your concern any negative comment or cooked negative comments? Is that what you're concerned?
Cooked negative comments.
Isn't that a legitimate issue? And by the way, cooked positive comments are a problem too. How do I, as the consumer, know somebody hates Phantom Gourmet, they decide to have their friends do this, or somebody loves Phantom Gourmet and says, let's do positive stuff, neither of which may be murdered? How do we protect ourselves against this?
Absolutely. So I think great points. I think nobody would disagree with you. I think even Yelp itself would not disagree that fake reviews damage restaurants, but moreover, I think they damage Yelp itself. Consumers go to Yelp or to TripAdvisor to find trustworthy information. To the extent that this information is not trustworthy, they will not go to Yelp or TripAdvisor anymore.
So, Yorgos, it seems to me, as someone who has no expertise in this area, the solution to the problem is quite simple. Might even make you happy. Anonymity is the problem. If people had to say, I am Jim Browdy, or in your case, I would call me John Browdy, in light of what happened here. I had to say something, I'd think twice. If I really believed it, I'd do it. But if it was borderline, I might not. Isn't that the solution?
That's part of the solution, and sites like Expedia do something like that. So Expedia, for instance, only allows you to write a review if you have paid and stayed. But then there are sites like Yelp, and Yelp cannot verify that everyone ate at a specific restaurant, right? So it gets a bit more difficult.
Do you have a solution other than, do you support the notion no anonymity? Do you think that would help?
I think that you should have to register and prove who you are. I like certain systems like Open Table where you in fact would have had to
Sure.
go to the
I
business.
agree
But
with that.
let's put aside the economics of it, Jim. How is it not bullying? If a bunch of people go on there, let's say a waitress does have a bad night. It happened to me the other night. I went out, guy's making me a cocktail, he makes a mistake, splashes across my shirt. Now you get out there in front of the whole world and say, the guy ruined my night, he's totally incompetent. You know, you and I, we sort of signed on for that, but regular hardworking people did not.
But if it's their opinion, David, and it is David, they could stand outside that restaurant and say those things and it'd be protected activity. So if they say them out loud, what's the difference if they say them
Again-
online, other than the fact they have a broader audience?
Again, if it's their honest opinion and they were there, I'm okay with it.
So you agree with Joe Kennedy? Joe Kennedy doesn't want to go after somebody who's just voicing an opinion. By the way, he doesn't want to protect somebody who's being defamatory. He wants to protect people who are voicing an opinion, whether it's critical or otherwise.
No,
You
I
seem to be
want to.
fine
I
with that.
want to raise the standard and make it easier for the business or the individual to bring a defamation claim. Because right now it's virtually impossible.
You ever posted a negative thing online about a competitor?
Never.
Raise your
Not-
right hand. Raise your hand and say that.
Never did.
Never. How about
Never.
you?
I've never written an online review.
Why is that? Quickly.
It's costly, takes time. I don't have the time for that.
Fair enough. David.
Which is the
nice
problem
to
with
see
the
you.
system because
Yorgos,
those people
it's nice
aren't
to
on
see
it.
you as
Pleasure.
well. Thank you, gentlemen. It's good to see you both.